Hi, everyone. This is Amy St. Ange. I just want to let everybody know that the meeting is currently being recorded, but it also is also being live streamed to YouTube.
Is Jim Bellavance on? And is Rob Mann connected?
Rob Mann isn't attending tonight, Aaron.
Okay.
I received an email.
All right, thank you.
I think he's logged in.
Yeah, I saw it.
Sorry,
Here he is.
my audio wasn't working.
There's Rob.
I stand corrected.
So then it's just Jim Bellavance, right?
I don't see him.
I don't see him either. Maybe he'll join us in a few. All right. It's 7 p.m. according to my computer. Right now it's 7:01. And the first item on the agenda is call to order and roll call. And the record will show that 5 members of the Board of Finance are present at this time. That's Rhonda Rooney, Rob Word, Steve Herbert, Aaron McGarry, Rob Mann. So we can move on to the next item of the agenda, and that is budget presentation, public hearing, Thompson Public Schools with Melinda Smith, Superintendent of Schools, and Kathleen Herbert, Chair of the Board of Education.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Kathleen Herbert, Chair of the Board of Education. And I'd like to thank the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, fellow members of the Board of Education, and citizens of Thompson for attending this presentation tonight via Zoom. I hope that by next year we will be able to meet in person again. As we all know, this current year of 2021 was a difficult and unusual year for students and parents alike. Before I present the fiscal year 2022 Thompson Public School budget, I would like to take a few minutes to thank all of those who have helped and are still helping the school make it through these difficult and challenging times. On behalf of the Board of Education, I'd like to send out special thanks to Superintendent Melinda Smith for holding it all together, sometimes by a thread, it seems. To all the dedicated administration staff and the devoted teachers who are working doubly hard to teach children in-house and who also accommodate those who have chosen to distance learn. We on the Board of Education understand and appreciate how difficult this is. To the amazing IT department who makes this all possible, and to all the staff at the Thompson Public Schools. In mid-March 2021, the schools were forced to close due to COVID. During this time of crisis, while children were not able to attend school in person or the summer programs, the school was able to provide 300 meals per day and 1,000 meals on weekends to children and young adults in the town of Thompson, ensuring that they would not go hungry. This would not have been possible without the hard work of the school's cafeteria workers and the custodians who went above and beyond to help. It also would not have been possible without the collaboration of other town workers and volunteer agencies. The town selectman's office, who lent us the vans necessary to distribute these meals, along with the security personnel who helped in the distribution. Our Father's Table, It Starts at Home, and Teague, who helped provide the meals, and local fire departments who acted as pickup points. Thank you. This is what the Thompson spirit is all about. This past December, our district was one of the very few districts in our area that chose to resume classes in person on a 5-day-a-week basis. We struggled to keep our students in school full-time and managed to do so in November. Since then, we have done a great job providing in-school instruction to our students with minimal interruptions. On March 2nd, We partnered with Day Kimball Healthcare and the Northeast District of Health to administer COVID vaccines to all personnel who are in contact with students, not only school personnel, but bus drivers, the town recreation department, and several employees of TEAS. Having staff immunized will further reduce the need for future school interruptions. The Thompson Public School budget for FY 2022 was prepared with the assumption that all students will return to their classrooms for instruction as normal, and school will remain in session 180 days as per state regulations. There are no provisions made in the budget for a blended format that it exists now, that is in-school instruction and distant learning. All schools will be in the classroom. All students will be in their classrooms. Studies have shown that in-school instruction is by far the best learning format for our children, not only for keeping them engaged in their studies, but also for their social and emotional health. Our children have missed out on so much this past year with limited social interactions and limitations on sports and other extracurricular activities due to the COVID restrictions. It is now my pleasure to present to you in conjunction with Superintendent Melinda Smith, the school budget for fiscal year 2022.
Well, thank you, Chairman Herbert, and thank you, Chairman McGarry, for the invitation to present the Board of Education spending plan for FY22. Danielle, can you put up the PowerPoint? Okay, so I am very excited to bring forward the Thompson Board of Education's 2022 spending plan with the hope that we are headed into a more typical school year. Let's start now by taking a look at our budget presentation. Next slide. I sincerely want to thank the members of the Board of Education for the countless hours they have dedicated to developing this spending plan over several workshops and review of many budget documents. Our board members are listed all here on this slide. Next slide, Danielle. This is a list of Thompson's administrative team and central office directors. I have been in education for over 40 years and have never worked in a school system with such a low number of personnel running a district. Due to the budget cuts that had to be made to the FY21 budget, the district has reduced the following administrative positions. We reduced a half-time principal at Turtle Rock Memorial High School, a half-time principal at Mary R. Fisher Elementary School, and a half-time curriculum director. The school principals at Turtle Rock Memorial High School and Mary R. Fisher have assumed more duties managing their schools, and the curriculum responsibilities have been shifted to the superintendent's office. While it is not ideal, we are all making it work. Due to this unusual school year, we have yet to realize the impact on the reduced administrators at these two schools. In comparison, Thompson has 4 full-time administrators leading our schools, while our nearby district in Putnam, with the same number of schools, currently has 6. Next slide, Danielle. The current mission and vision statement of the Board of Education is the very foundation we use to develop this spending plan. We are starting to align this plan with the goals and attributes of the Portrait of a Graduate, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. Next slide, Danielle. So district advantages. The citizens of the town of Thompson are receiving an excellent return on their investment in Thompson Public Schools. And overall, I know the community is really proud of these accomplishments. Our schools have the most dedicated administrators, faculty, and staff, and this was surely evidenced this year due to all of the COVID restrictions and different types of learning styles that had to be put in place. Next slide, Danielle. The Portrait of a Graduate. The members of the Thompson community, if you can recall, it's almost 2 years ago now, developed the portrait of a graduate with feedback from over 500 stakeholders. Based on the information that was gathered, the Thompson community expects all Thompson graduates to be independent, knowledgeable, and community connected. Next slide. Under the pillars of independent, knowledgeable, and community connected, the community identified the following attributes. Under knowledgeable, being academically accomplished, skilled at critical thinking, adept at problem solving, financially literate, appreciative of the arts, and aware of other languages and cultures. Under independent, driven toward physical and emotional wellness, effective with communication, proficient with interpersonal interactions, organized, successful with time management, equipped with a strong work ethic, and confident. And under the pillar of community connected, anchored in the values of kindness, honesty, respect, and empathy, ready to lead authentically, service-oriented, appreciative of local history, and civic-minded. This is what the citizens of Thompson want from a graduate of Thompson Public Schools. Next slide. Some district challenges. This budget only covers the expected costs of running the district. No funding for unexpected expenses are put into this budget. So if a boiler breaks, if a tree falls and it must be removed, or a student moves in and needs an out-of-district placement, this particular budget won't be able to cover those unknown expenses. The POG was developed by the community and needs to be funded. The spending plan is the very beginning of aligning the resources with the goals of the community and the citizens of Thompson. I would now like to turn the spending plan specifics to Chairman Herbert. Next slide, Danielle.
Thank you, Superintendent Smith. The Board of Education is putting forth a budget for fiscal year 2022 of $19,134,331, an increase of $153,818 or 0.81% over last year's budget. Again, I emphasize this is a realistic budget. It is not a wish list. These costs represent real expenditures necessary to run a lean and frugal, to run our schools in a lean and frugal manner. No frills, just the necessary day-to-day operations with no room for error. We will go into these changes in more depth in later slides. Next slide, please. Fixed overhead has remained consistent around 94%. But in 2020, Thompson Public Schools made a concerted effort to reduce these fixed costs. This has been achieved in multiple ways through staff reduction, both in direct education areas and administration cuts, sharing where possible supplies and insurance with the town to get economies of scale, installing cost-efficient lighting to reduce energy usage and monitoring energy usage to reduce overall costs, bringing in the Bradley program to reduce outplacement costs for special education where appropriate, and most importantly, reflected in this year's budget, was leaving the CT CHIP health insurance program. We initially joined to reduce health insurance costs, but in the long run, it failed to produce the desired results. The Board of Education recognized that the taxpayers could not continue to absorb double-digit increases in health insurance premiums. And although we were contractually obligated to remain in the program for one more year, we, along with the town, decided to look elsewhere and pay the penalty if it were financially sound. As it turns out, it was a huge benefit to both the school, town, and the employees who will pay less in their employee contributions. With our withdrawal from the program, several other towns also withdrew and the program dissolved. Thus, there was no penalty to pay. When we did the research into new health insurance providers, we also made sure to review the history of the plan's past increases, checking for volatility in their overall rate increases. Next slide, please. This graph represents the school's increases versus the average rate of inflation. Over the past 5 years, the taxpayers of Thompson have funded the school below the increase of the rate of inflation 3 out of 5 years. Looking at the average rate of inflation, the town has funded the school below the average rate for the last 5 years. I know the gap doesn't look is great, 1.85% average rate of inflation versus the 1.43% school increase. But keep in mind, the average rate of increase in wages per year are 2 to 2.5%, which includes the teacher's steps. Health benefits have increased an average of over 10% per year. The bus contract is a fixed 3% per year, which we have managed to reduce the cost of the contract by taking 4 of the special ed buses off the road by bringing out-of-district children back into the Bradley program, thereby eliminating the need for long-distance buses. The town benefits also from the school contract with DATCO by revenue from property taxes and rental income for parking the buses at the town garage. Also, there is no longer any need to put $85,000 to $170,000 annually into the capital budget to replace buses because replacement of buses is folded into the school contract with DATCO. Next slide, please. This graph shows how the school's $19.3 million budget request breaks down. 44% of our costs go to general education. 20% of our costs are for special education. 12% covers admin and employee benefits, with the other 34% going for other services. Next slide. The total increase in personnel costs, and this includes salaries to employees, substitutes, coaches, life insurance, unemployed, all employee costs, increased just 0.07%. This is mostly due to the decrease in cost of the health insurance. The increase in payroll itself was $415,000 or 4.2%. But this also included an addition of 3 full-time employees. One was a transition teacher, which the Superintendent Smith will speak to later in the presentation, a part-time high school tech education teacher. We hired in 2021 a part-time IT assistant and 1 full-time maintenance replacement. This maintenance position was left vacant due to the retirement in 2021 and was not filled due to budget constraints. We have been outsourcing some of the maintenance needs and find it would be more cost effective to bring this position back and bring the work back in-house. We are now in negotiations with 3 of our bargaining units. This spring, custodians and secretaries. Last year, we negotiated a 1-year contract with these 2 unions for 0 pay increases. We are now also in negotiation with the para-nurses / cafeteria workers. We were able to reach an agreement with the teachers to step plus general wage increase of 1.5%. The increased max step increase is 2.7%. We have 18 steps, but almost half of our teachers are on the 18th step, so they only get a general wage increase of the 1.5%. We are also able to increase their health insurance costs by 0.5%, their contribution to the health insurance. Administrators, this contract was agreed to prior to the March 2021 shutdown, and their general wage increase for this year is 2.25%, and their insurance contribution rate also rose by 0.5%. The largest contributor to our budget cost constraint was the decision to leave CT Chip Consortium. We originally entered CT Chip 2 years ago to avoid a huge increase in health insurance premiums from our then carrier Connecticut, and did enjoy savings that year. But as you know, due to high losses in 2020, we were hit with a 19% increase for the budget in the year 2021. And again, for this year, the increase would have been 17.71. The Board of Ed recognizes that increases like this are unsustainable for the taxpayers of Thompson. Next slide. So the special education increase is 2.44%. Some of this is due to adding a program and a new teacher. Others are tuition increases from outside. Transportation went up 2.31, and this includes plus the fuel. Now we do have a decrease in the fuel, but we were able to take another bus off the road. Workers' comp and liability insurance, this is went up by 7%. This is the lowest increase I've seen in many years. And I want to give a shout out to all the employees, and that's both we share this with the town. So this is both the school employees and the town employees. I want to thank them for their safety consciousness. This is paying off. Technology increase is 151,000 in the tech department. I'll give you a breakdown of this. We're replacing 26 laptops and 125 Chromebooks. This represents half of our needs in the high school. These have reached their lifespan of 3 to 4 years, and many of them all of them are out of warranty, and many of them are older. The laptops were originally donated to the teachers. This represents only, as I said, only half of our requirement, and it is $108,000 of the 151 increase. We found it necessary in 2021 to add a part-time IT position. This is also in that increase. It's $22,000. We've reclassed all our instruction programs into the IT department for uniformity, to ensure uniformity among all the teachers and among all the classrooms, and that represents 46,000. And all of this is offset by the reduction of health insurance of 25,000. And with that, I am going to turn, next slide, please. This is just showing the percentage of fixed cost and our variable costs. That's self-explanatory. And then the next slide, please. The voters will see a line item for school spending of $19,134,331 in the budget this year. But what I think we lose sight of is this is not the number that ultimately impacts the mill rate. The number that is missing is the revenue to the town from the state through economic cost sharing, ECS. This slide shows that the taxpayers pay only 61% or 59% of the town's expenses through their property and personal taxes. The other 41% is paid by the state, spread over all the taxpayers in the state, collected in income and sales taxes, or funded through federal funds. I know we all contribute in some form to these funds, but not to the extent we directly pay for the 59% from our property and personal town taxes. Again, as I have said in the past, a healthy, robust school district contributes to a healthy, robust town. Ensuring the investment in your home remains high or grows. It's a win-win for every taxpayer. The student wins from a fine education, ensuring they go on to either the college of their choice or enter a career with the necessary skills. And the taxpayer maintains the value in their property if and when they choose to sell. And I did a quick calculation. Our change of $153,000, $153,818 means a 0.213 of a mill increase based on what Orla gave me of $722,000 equals a mill. And with that, I will turn it over back to Melinda.
Well, thank you. And the district does receive federal and state grants. And so the grants provide the town with funding to offset the cost of specialized staffing in reading and special education, and it provides for some funds for professional development. Those are under federal grants for Title I, II, and IDEA for special education. Title III, as you can see on the chart, is no longer available to the district, as this is for English language learner students. And we currently have a low number of ELL students enrolled in Thompson Public Schools. We do receive some excess cost funds as a reimbursement for our out-of-district students in their tuition. School readiness funds provide Thompson families who meet a certain criteria with free preschool placement. The district is required to provide adult education programs. So we receive a grant of $47,977, and the BOE budget must match this amount for a total of almost $100,000. This money goes to EastCon to manage our adult education program, and it's combined with other districts, so they have one large program that services all of the adult ed. We also receive Perkins funds annually, which also helps offset the cost of new equipment in our manufacturing, engineering, construction, and marine trades program. The sad news is that while Thompson is designated as an Alliance district, we are not annually funded as the other 32 Alliance districts are. There must be a change in the state regulations to allocate funds to Thompson annually. Thanks to our state representatives, we did receive funding for 2 years out of 4. We didn't receive any money this year under Alliance for academic support, and we do not anticipate any funding for FY22. We were also fortunate to receive a stabilization grant for the last 2 years in the amount of $200,000. However, that money will expire this year as this was a short-term allocation. Next slide, please. The FY 2021 school year has presented many unique challenges due to COVID-19 pandemic. The BOE, administrators, faculty, and staff of Thompson Public Schools ought to be commended for their dedication to the students in this community. As a result, Thompson schools have operated on site for 75% of the school year this far. In fact, out of 107 school days as of February 23rd, we had a total of 107 days, and out of that, 80 days we were on site. We are also tremendously grateful to Thompson families as we have had to navigate between opening and closing based primarily on large number of staff that had to quarantine due to the COVID exposure. It is our hope that having most of our staff receiving the COVID vaccine, that we reduce the necessity of large number of staff needing to quarantine, and we will remain in school full-time for the rest of this school year. Next slide, please. Funds, oops, excuse me. Turn the page too fast. The district has received 3 different funding sources to offset the expenses associated with opening the school during the pandemic. The funds are restricted and may never be used to cover an expense that is in the Board of Education's regular budget. ESSER 1, in the amount of $132,957, has covered substitutes, custodial, and maintenance salary. The money was awarded and spent to cover those costs, so we have drawn down all of those funds. The coronavirus relief funding in the amount of $340,606 has covered teacher subs, supplies, bus monitors at the start of the school year, partitions, desk dividers, custodial supplies. We were allocated to get $90,000 left. However, I had our finance director request additional funds through this grant, and we did receive the additional amount. All of that money has been drawn down and spent. In addition, we are working with Orla in the town to get FEMA reimbursement. It's applied for through the town. Orla has submitted a total of $7,823 to FEMA, and we should be reimbursed about 75% of that money in the total of $5,867. A new amount of funding from ESSER 2 has grant restrictions. It must be used for learning loss, social emotional wellness, and HVAC system assessments and upgrade. The district must complete a needs assessment and apply targeting in 4 priority areas: academic support, learning loss, learning acceleration and recovery, family and community connection, school safety, and social and emotional well-being of the whole student and school staff. In addition, the 4th pillar is remote learning, staff development, and the digital divide. We will be working on submitting this grant in the next few weeks. Next slide, please. The cost of providing the necessary, next slide, Danielle. Thank you. The cost of providing the necessary programs to support students with disabilities in Thompson is a high portion of our budget. Next slide, please. There are both federal and state laws that require school districts to provide a free and appropriate education to all students in a least restrictive environment. This is the laws that the district must comply with. Next slide. 1/3 of the students attending Thompson Public Schools require specialized services and programs to meet their learning needs. This is a total of 293 students out of 947. As Chairman Herbert mentioned, 20% of the overall budget goes to supporting these students in the amount of $3,889,382. That's above and beyond what we spend for every other child. In addition, this past year, we have 52 students being homeschooled. This means that the students are at home being taught by their parents. They're not participating in our teacher-directed distant learning program. And many of those families have told me that when school reopens full-time, they will be coming back to school. Our worry is that we may have to close the learning gap for some of those students. Next slide, please. So, out-of-district placements in special education seem to be a cost that is unpredictable and one that is well out of our control. Currently, we have 24 students in out-of-district placement. In order to combat and to offset the expense of having students in out-of-district placements, Christopher Jones, the Pupil Service Director, made a partnership with Bradley Hospital and have implemented the Bradley Windham County program. It is an out-of-district program operating 3 classes at each level in our schools, one at the elementary school, the middle, and high school. We do pay tuition to Bradley School. However, it's at a reduced rate. Currently, we have 10 Thompson students in the Bradley program. This year, we have transitioned in 8 students back from a more costly out-of-district program. Typical out-of-district placement costs the district about $102,600, including transportation, compared with the Bradley tuition of $38,763. This is a cost avoidance of $63,837 per pupil. In addition, students, 4 from Putnam and 1 from Killingly, attend the Bradley Windham County program. And we also receive a discount because we're bringing students in from another program. So as you can see, we're making every attempt to provide very specialized programs, but have the students remain on site, which is really saving a great deal in transportation costs. Next slide. So building relationships with families is part of trust building. And the reason that our pupil service director has been able to transition 8 students in from out-of-district placements is because he has developed those relationships with families and they trust the program that he has recommended for their child. We've also implemented that Best Buddies and Unified Sports program, which combines disabled and non-disabled peers socializing and playing sports together. We have a unique learning curriculum that we have in preschool through transition. We have a life skills program. And before I came, many of these students were in out-of-district placements. However, to create a least restrictive environment, we have added a life skills program at Mary R. Fisher, Thompson Middle School, and Turtle Up Memorial High School. Those life skills programs are staffed by Thompson Public School staff, and it has avoided other students from needing to go out of district because we have developed programs to provide those students in their home school with the necessary programming. And then, of course, we talked about Bradley Wyndham. Next slide, please, Danielle. Currently, the district pays out-of-district tuition for 3 students to attend a transition program out of district. Transition programs teach students how to live independently, learn how to manage finances, and become employable. The district is responsible for providing program for special education students 18 to 22 after graduation who meet a certain criteria. We are proposing in this budget to develop our own transition program. Next slide, please, Danielle. And so why is a transition program and what would this model, why would it be beneficial to Thompson Public Schools? Danielle, next slide. We talked about that we are trying to teach our students to live independently, manage finances, and become employable. Next slide. So currently, the district pays out-of-district tuition for those 3 students. An average cost for one student in a transition program with transportation, considering some excess cost reimbursement we get from the state, is $122,878. The total cost of adding a special education teacher is $76,000. Clearly, there is a significant cost avoidance in developing this program in-house. Next slide. So now we're going to take a look at plan and operations. The town of Thompson should be extremely proud of the entire school campus. The members of the Board of Education have always placed special attention on making sure that the children of Thompson, faculty and staff, teach and learn in a healthy, well-maintained learning environment. Over the past several years, the BOE has put forward a very realistic budget, not only to educate the children in Thompson, but also a plan to maintain the school buildings, which are a source of pride for the community. Unfortunately, over the past few years that I've been superintendent, the BOE spending plan is really never fully funded, and the district is forced to make significant cuts in the budget. We most often cut from the building maintenance rather than reducing teachers. As you can see from this beautiful aerial shot, and a special shout out to Jeff Bolte, we do have a beautiful looking campus, but if you take a closer look, you will see that the buildings are starting to show the lack of upkeep because of those continued budget reductions. Next slide, please. However, we were able to do some improvements over the past years, and we're going to take you on a little picture walk. The high school courtyard was upgraded to allow for outside classroom space and mask breaks. Next slide. The masonry in the 8th grade social studies and science wing has finally resolved the many years of leaks and flooding that has occurred in the classrooms. Next slide, please, Danielle. And last year, we did get an Alliance grant allocation and was able to expand the manufacturing, construction, engineering, and marine trade shop by removing and reinforcing a supporting wall to open up the shop. And if you take a look at these pictures, the difference is truly remarkable. Next slide, Danielle. So taking a look at some unfunded capital projects over the past years, you can take a look at that list. But since we have had to make those reductions, we've never completed any of these things that we put into our budget. But we did highlight the Board of Education has once again asked the town of Thompson to budget for capital projects the BOE budget couldn't fund. This year, we are specifically asking for the remodeling of the locker rooms and floor replacement for a total of $77,517. And we have asked the selectmen to add that into the town's budget. And I do believe First Selectman Amy St. Ange will address that in her presentation. But we want to know, so why are these upgrades really, truly important to Turtle Rock Memorial High School? Next slide, please. So we must earn NEASC accreditation. The New England Association of Schools and Colleges has established a set of national standards for accreditation for high schools. The standards are regarded as a symbol of quality and accountability to the public for high schools and colleges across our country. Next slide, please. So what happens if Turtle Rock Memorial High School loses its accreditation? Well, colleges and universities will not recognize our diploma or the course credits from our high school. Students who may be eligible for scholarships will not be, and will place an additional burden on students and their families. Our students have earned scholarships over the past several years that have significantly reduced college tuition fees. Our scholarships have totaled in 17-18, $730,000, in 18-19, $1.3 million. Last year, we saw a drop to $400,000 due to COVID, but this year, to date, we are at $900,000 in scholarships, which will most likely hit $1 million to our graduating seniors and their family. The town also will not have a nationally recognized high school program. The district, if we lose accreditation, must report this to the Connecticut State Department of Education, who in turn must notify the state legislature, which could put grant funding in jeopardy. Finally, and I believe most very important to the town of Thompson, real estate values can be impacted as families will be reluctant to move into a community that does not have a high school that meets accreditation standards. Next slide, please. The 2015 NEASC report specifically cites science labs, athletic track, tennis courts, and locker rooms, along with typical building maintenance, which includes the floors. The boards of selectmen, as I have mentioned, have asked the members of the Thompson Building Committee to address the issues associated with the tracks and courts to determine the cost of repairs and what they need to do for those areas. So I thank the selectmen for giving that charge to the Building Committee. Next slide, please. We do have some building projects, though, that are underway using other funding sources. So first, obviously, the roof replacement, providing the referendum does pass. The security project, we're in the final phase of the installation of the security gates. They will be installed this summer. We were delayed in getting those done last year, primarily due to COVID. A full telephone and external speaker system, thanks to a construction grant allocated to Alliance districts. And the Turtle Rock Trust has approved the installation of the second phase of the window project at the original high school building, and the high school shop will receive a new dust collection system, which was removed from last year's budget thanks to the same Alliance construction grant. Next slide, please. And so we have a little bit of a personnel recap so that you know that these positions are embedded into the Board of Education spending plan. Most of the positions we are adding to the Board of Education spending plan is to avoid unnecessary costs moving forward. And that is important to note. The members of the Board of Ed, in collaboration with the town, have a spending plan with a vision that will avoid spending more in the future. The positions are as follows. We need to restore a maintenance position that was never filled last year after retirement due to budget reductions. This year, we are already calling in outside vendors to make repairs to our building that were previously handled in-house. This is definitely a cost avoidance position. Sharing a human resource professional with the town of Thompson. Currently, I have had to rely on the Board of Ed's attorney to cover some functions that an HR professional could accomplish. This position is also a necessary cost avoidance. Having the transition teacher just makes plain sense. It's a cost avoidance position as we have students scheduled to enter into this type of program next year and also the subsequent years after. And finally, adding a part-time tech educator to expand the opportunities for students to learn the trades and to support a career or simply be able to fix things at home is certainly most important. Finally, our spending plan documents have some backup information in the appendix. Next slide, please, Danielle. And as always, anyone listening to this budget presentation, if you have questions about the Board of Education spending plan, please call me. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, Kathleen. All right, we'll now move on to item 3 of the agenda, which is budget presentation / public hearing. Amy St. Ange, First Selectman. She's going to cover the general budget and the capital improvement plan.
Thank you, Erin. I'm going to share my screen now. Oops. Thank you for attending tonight's budget presentations. My name is Amy St. Ange, and I'll be presenting the Town of Thompson General Fund Budget Capital Improvement Program. I'll begin with an overview of the 21-22 Board of Selectmen proposed budget. Some highlights. Currently, we are looking at a 1.97% increase within town expenditures. This does
Amy, unmute yourself.
to several or numerous houses that are being built in town. So our building official is tirelessly working to do inspections. So we've added some additional cost just to cover the additional hours in that department. So we've added $12,456. We are proposing to add a shared human resources position. This will be shared with our school, and we're estimating approximately $30,000 in cost for that. We have increased the fire department grant funding by $15,000 over last year. Recently, we also increased the firefighter tax abatement program, which we are estimating will cost no more than $25,000. So here you can see total expenditures for this year within the town, including capital request, are $8,723,036. An estimated total revenue within the town, $1,910,619, bringing the total amount to be raised by taxation to $6,812,417. 21-22 capital request include revaluation services, road resurfacing and repairs, a new roll-off truck, a new 9-ton plow truck, preliminary engineering design for Buckley Hill Road bridges, under 20-foot bridge inspections, a self-contained salt storage facility, library and community center building repair fund, in addition to the roof replacement fund. Turtle Up Memorial High School hallway flooring repair and upgrade to the locker rooms, and the Bull Hill Recreation Facility / school track sports complex. So I'm going to begin just to go over all of those capital requests and give you a little bit more detail as to what's involved with these requests. The first is revaluation services. The town was previously contracted with NECOG for these services. Proposed costs through NECOG were close to $150,000. The Assessor's Department, under the leadership of Paul Hopkins, has created a 5-year plan to accomplish revaluation-related expenses in-house. The estimated savings to the town will be $55,000 to $75,000. Therefore, at this time, we are requesting $25,000 to go towards these future revaluation services. Road resurfacing and repairs, $500,000. In the past 2 years, our Public Works Department has reclaimed and resurfaced 10% of our roads. There are 2 major projects this year. Project number 1, reclaim and resurface 2.64 miles of Quadic Road. Cost estimates are as follows. Reclamation and grading, $77,440. Resurfacing with 4 inches of asphalt, $627,300. Project number 2, the Wheaton Brook Box Culvert replacement on West Thompson Road. The current culvert is too narrow to provide safe travel for motorists and/or pedestrians crossing, as it creates a bottleneck on West Thompson Road. The existing culvert does not meet the requirements for storm water flow and will be brought up to standard. The cost estimate is $260,000. In addition to any type of projects that might crop up throughout the year and the general maintenance of our parks facilities, the Public Works Department is also proposing the following projects. 361 Brandy Hill Road drainage. They'll be repairing a water issue at 96 Pompeo Road. They'll be installing a basin and culvert pipe at 29 Cordis Road. The Blaine Road intersection will get a facelift. There's a new intersection design which is approved by the Connecticut DOT. Reardon Road extension, possible one-way or complete redesign. 3 Colonial Ave curb repairs, 10 Valley View drainage repairs. They will be removing stumps at the Riverside Park basketball courts, and then they will resurface those courts. The transfer station gate will get a relocation, and they'll be installing new rolling gate. There'll be updates to the railings and signage at the transfer station. Public Works and transfer station trucks. Request number 1, roll-off truck. As requested last year, the 2003 Max CV713 roll-off truck is in need of replacement. Last year, our director was quoted $28,000 for trade-in value. To date, repair costs have exceeded more than half that amount. The unit is responsible for transporting the majority of waste recycled items out of the transfer station. The cost estimate, $195,647. And that is the current roll-off truck. Request number 2, 9-ton plow truck. This truck will replace the 1994 International that has been taken out of service due to a blown radiator and rotted cab. The cost estimate, $202,861. This is the 1994 that will be taken out of, that has been taken out of service. There are currently 3 projects requiring engineering services. Project number 1 is the replacement of bridges over the French River and the French River Canal on Buckley Hill Road. Request is for preliminary design for the project. We need the preliminary design in order to move forward with applying for a grant through the state to help cover the cost of the replacement of these 2 bridges. The cost estimate for the preliminary design work is $25,000. We recently went out to RFP for this, and this estimate was given to us by J&D Civil Engineers. They thought that would probably be adequate to cover the cost. We're hoping to get the RFPs, hoping to get some proposals in prior to the budget really finalizing so that we can have some firm numbers. Additionally, project number 2 is the biennial under 20-foot bridge inspections. These inspections are overdue in our town by about 2 years. Again, we're relying on an estimate for cost. We have gone out to RFP, hoping to get some proposals before this budget is finalized, but currently we're estimating the cost for the inspections as $25,000. We are also requesting an additional $10,000 for site plan development for the self-contained salt storage facility at our Public Works garage. Last year we were granted $20,000. We have used $9,000. We'd like to bring that account back up to 20 to begin some additional testing on the site, and then hopefully move forward with some type of site plan to get a brand new facility in place. So these are photos of the salt shed. This is not a self-contained storage facility by any means. These are pretty much 2 sheds that house the salt product currently. As you can see, it is exposed to wind and rain. So there is some dispersing of the salt. So we really need to get a facility in place that will keep the salt contained and away from exposure to the elements and possible runoff into the soils. And this is just a second angle photo. Additionally, these are photos that came from the report from Connecticut DOT, from the Buckley Road bridges. There is some spalling in various spots, which has deemed the bridges unsafe. The bridges are deemed in poor condition, and currently the road is closed to heavy truck traffic because of the condition of the bridges. Library and Community Center building. This year, the Board of Trustees is requesting funds for the following projects. Project number 1, replace 2 air exchange units in the community center. Project number 2 would be to replace telephone system. Project number 3, replacing the original boiler. Project number 4, update the main light timing system. Project number 5, a carpet replacement project. And project number 6, continuing to add to the roof replacement fund for the future replacement of the roof. Total funds they are requesting at this time is $75,000. School facilities. We're looking to make some upgrades at the Turtle Lot Memorial High School. In preparation for NEASC accreditation in 2 years, it is essential that the following building upgrades recommended in the 2015 NEASC report be made. Project number 1 would be replacement of flooring in the hallways. Cost estimate, $37,517. Project number 2, upgrade to the locker rooms. Cost estimate, $40,000. And project number 3, Bull Hill Recreation Area / School Track Sports Complex. Request at this time, $20,000. And as you can see some photos of the flooring and the condition of the flooring, you can see that it's quite poor. Additionally, the locker room area definitely in desperate need of an upgrade. And probably the most unsightly thing on that property is our TMHS school track. Our students haven't been able to run a track meet there for years due to the unsafe conditions. It would be really nice to have a school track available not only our students, but to our residents that we can really be proud of. In conclusion, the Board of Selectmen have put together what we believe is a sound and conservative budget. We have focused on capital improvements that the town has been in desperate need of for many years. We would like to continue to support our Public Works Department in improving our roadways, bridges, and infrastructure. It is imperative that we be proactive and continue to prepare for future facility needs as well. I respectfully request that the Board of Finance accept our recommendations for the 21-22 fiscal year general fund budget and capital improvement programs. Thank you.
Okay, and this is what everybody, I'm assuming, is interested in. Let me just jump back here. I'm going to share my screen one more time. And these are the numbers. Proposed mill rate at this time is 25.81, representing an increase to taxes of 1.58 mils. This includes all of that capital. It's the town's in desperate need. It's crumbling all around us. And I think that this budget touches upon all facets of this town and will really continue to keep us moving forward to repairing the items that need to be repaired. So thank you all for your time tonight. And I'll turn it over to Aaron again.
Thank you, Amy. So tonight's meeting is technically a public hearing. And so this is when the Board of Education and the Board of Selectmen present their respective proposed budgets to the Board of Finance. And that's it. That's the extent of the purpose of this hearing. There's no deliberation by Board of Finance members. There's no going through the line items like we typically do. That begins a week from tonight, 7 p.m. And we meet every Thursday, starting at 7 p.m. for the next 2 months, basically. And that's when we do go through these budgets line by line and discuss and deliberate, etc. So the purpose of this evening was to present, and that has already happened. And so this is basically the part where we would adjourn the meeting. I thank everyone for coming, obviously coming remotely, for connecting remotely, and being a part of this process. It's very important, it's very good and healthy for our town when our citizens get involved and attend these meetings. So I thank you for being here. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn from a member of the Board of Finance.
I'll make a
I'll move,
motion.
Aaron.
Ron has got the motion. Rob Word, if you got the second.
I'll second it for sure.
Great. So there's a motion and a second to adjourn this public hearing. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? And does anyone abstain? All right, so this carries, I believe 5-0. I don't know if Jim has been able to connect. If he has been able to connect, it carried 6-0. So Dottie, if you can make note of that in the minutes. And it's now 8:04 p.m. And I thank everyone very much and I wish you a very good night.